Crypto Geeks, and welcome to another exciting video. Huge news today. Another document just released. It's like 30 seconds old. You deserve to know it first because you've clicked that subscribe and you've clicked that like button. If you haven't, please do so. I'm on my toes watching for Twitter 24/7. So click and subscribe and like really help me out. So please do your best to support me. With that said, the SEC and Ripple this time, guys, it's a joint document, joint statement for the first time in forever that the SEC and Ripple have sent to Judge Netburn. Now, before I tell you what's in that document, know that I'm not a financial or a legal advisor. You always have to do your own research, particularly when it comes to your investment. So don't take my word for anything. So the document that was just released like 50 seconds ago now is submitted by both Ripple and the SEC. And what makes that different in it being a joint document than, for example, some of the documents prior was the documents prior, Ripple had sent the entire document and said SEC agrees. This time at the beginning of the document, it is clearly noted that this document is both from the SEC and Ripple. So they're sitting together, talking and putting together documents. This is amazing news. Yes, the document itself is not that big of a deal. It's just discussing that they have agreed to both keep the documents that were sent a couple of days ago in seal, which means they don't want me, you, or any of the general public to know about it. I don't care to know what's in those documents, probably some more legal lingo, but what's important is that they're beginning to sit and talk and have civilized conversation, and I'm sure the civilized conversation is going to lead to a very good, very happy conclusion for us XRP holders. Keep in mind, over the last couple of days, we have been talking about the SEC basically getting on the Judge Netburn's bad side. And I think the SEC are beginning to notice that they are likely screwed if they end up going to trial with this case. They're going to be screwed not just with this case against Ripple, but all of their filings moving forward against any cryptocurrency that they try to sue. And obviously that's very bad for the SEC. They still want to maintain some power and they want the currencies to maintain some fear from them. Keep in mind, for the most part, most lawsuits that the SEC had not even brought forward that have threatened against most currencies, basically the currencies or the companies that are managing those currencies have just ended up paying the SEC just to keep them off from speaking too much. Now, if the SEC is known to have no jurisdiction over cryptocurrency and to automatically have this case between them suing or them threatening to sue any of the cryptocurrency, they're going to lose a lot of money. And clearly Judge Netburn is not going to be on the SEC's side, and she's not going to be threatened by the SEC. So this is very good news, guys. This joint statement is indicating that the SEC and Ripple are probably in major settlement discussions, and they have begun to loosen their speech with each other. It's very good to see that. I was talking about it in my last couple of videos, that it is looking like Ripple is taking it down a notch in terms of how they are speaking about the SEC. Brad has not really brought too much, actual, forceful sort of conversation against the SEC. He's been saying that, the issues with legislation and with clarity overall in the United States, rather than saying that the SEC has no jurisdiction, they have no business in this, and trying to talk bad about the SEC. He's just kind of brought up the whole problem with actual with the United States and lack of clarity for the crypto sector within the United States. So he's toned down his stock. Same thing goes for Gary Gensler. I've told you over the last couple of times that you've heard Gary Gensler. He has not targeted Ripple specifically, and he's not really negated when it was brought up that XRP is a currency. He's just kind of sat still and listened in. So this is very good. That means they're trying to get on each other's good side which probably will end up with a likely settlement. And I told you last time the SEC, what they're going to hear, what they're probably very worried about hearing in the next court hearing is the judge threatening dismissal. Because that moment that threat comes in, not only is the SEC going to look even worse, but it's going to give Ripple a ton more business, and it's going to make the value of XRP fly through the roof, because once people hear that, they know that this case could end with complete devastation to the SEC. And the SEC doesn't want the general public to hear that. So they're going to try and figure things out from under the table before it actually ends up going to court. Judge Netburn herself, if you have been reading the last couple of documents, has been pushing very strongly to the SEC and Ripple settling. She's even brought it as straightforward as she can in saying the two parties need to sit and settle this outside of judicial jurisdiction. So she's telling them you need to solve this within yourself. And I believe she's doing that to protect the SEC. Remember, regardless of how you think of the SEC, it is still a government entity, and the Ministry of Justice and the legal system is within the same entity. They're still a public entity. And so they wouldn't like to make each other look bad. So if she has a ruling that's likely to go against the SEC, she's going to try and pressure the SEC into getting a settlement so they don't look too bad. And that's what Judge Netburn has made very clear to the SEC. Now, whatever she does moving forward is not to blame on her, because she had given them their warning. And I think the SEC knows how important it is, the public image of almost all government institutions. So that is why they had threatened the court system, essentially saying, if you rule with Ripple, we're going to look bad and we're not going to be able to do our job. So they're using that same point that Judge Netburn tried to tell the SEC. She basically told them, you're going to look bad, but find a settlement so we can get this off the table. It's looking like finally it's getting through to the SEC, and finally there are some discussions. I'm sure Judge Netburn is going to be very happy to hear that, and I wouldn't be shocked if you get another document out by the SEC and Ripple this time. I expect another joint document asking for another delay. If you remember, they had asked for a delay, I believe, until it might have been the 11th or the 13th of June to submit some more documents. So if they ask for a bit more delay, I wouldn't be shocked. Or if the judge herself grants SEC's request, not for 60 days, I would expect a very short time frame, 1 to 2 weeks, if he grants them that so they can talk, then that wouldn't be shocking to me. And it's likely because she's going to know from some of these sealed documents that the SEC and Ripple are having negotiation talks and trying to settle this matter outside of judicial jurisdiction. So, very good news. You should be happy. The market should really accept this information in a very positive vibe, and hopefully we can get this rally going, keep going. We've been doing very good over the last day. Let's hope the day ends well for the crypto market as a whole. Very good news over the last couple of days, guys. So I wouldn't be shocked if you see a sudden burst in the market and we see some real green numbers. I would not be shocked whatsoever with what's going on with Bitcoin and El Salvador, and now Mexico discussing possibly incorporating similar legislation as El Salvador, and now with positive news looking like coming from the SEC versus Ripple case. Good stuff, guys. Click that like and subscribe button. I'll keep you posted minute by minute, guys, but click that like and subscribe and make sure your notifications are on. And if you really want to help me out, click join. It's $5. I know it's not a huge amount of money, but it really helps me out, and it adds up. So any little bit helps. Thank you for watching the video, and see you in the next one.